Hey folks, this is Kalani. I want to talk to you about an issue which quite a few people seem to be running into, and it's to do with your damage on your sheet. Essentially, this number here. Now, this actually completely applies to everything on your sheet, which is kind of awkward, but I'm just going to talk about damage. Now, what I'm going to talk about is how, essentially, that's kind of a lie, and how certain legendaries are actually powerful enough to increase your damage, or your potential damage, or your potential effective damage per second, even if you lose a good chunk off your sheet. Now, right now, with all my buffs active, as you can see, I have 820,000 damage on my sheet. I've worked out my effective DPS through GOM tests as approximately 7.6 million with this gear setup. Everything the same. Now, what's interesting is that while this is incredibly good for clearing things because my frozen orb is going to hit quite hard, Maximus, the two-handed legendary fire sword, essentially, has a very interesting affix, and that is chance on hit to summon a demonic slave. Now, that might not seem all that amazing on the face of things. You know, you see this, you see a 21.6% damage loss, and you might scoff and throw it away or salvage it. I'd recommend you go over and experiment with any legendaries which you aren't intimately knowledgeable about. For example, Maximus, a fire chain will link you between the demon and yourself. That fire chain hits like a truck, so much so that with the exact same DPS test, with the exact same gear, the only difference being Maximus, my effective DPS on a GOM test goes up to 11.5 million, and I lose nearly 200k on my damage sheet. Now obviously this is one example, and it doesn't work for everything, but what Maximus specifically is amazing for is stationary bosses, large bosses where they're going to stay around for a while, or anything where you can control the chain essentially. So this is the Rift Guardian. Now that's obviously on normal, but you can see the damage that the chain does. It's pretty ridiculous. What's fantastic about it is that the chance on hit seems to be a very high chance on hit, and doesn't seem to have a very high internal cooldown.
Need more arcane power.
There you go, we've got our demon back. On normal mode with Maximus, I could literally run through a rift and let the chain kill everything for me.
If only they could see me now.
Which is kind of crazy, but I just want to point out that a legendary affix can give you a ridiculous damage boost, especially if you work around it. Now, in this gear, and with this setup, I am essentially a cold damage wizard, but this fire chain still does a ridiculous amount for me. If I was a fire wizard and played with Meteor, it would do even more. It really is insane, not to mention that Maximus itself synergizes very well because it is plus fire skills. It's kinda crazy, so I'd recommend you double check every legendary that you get, especially if it has a special affix. But that's just a little thing I want to get out there. Sheet damage is not damage. It's a nice guide until a certain point, but after that you need to start understanding how your skills and stats are affecting your character and affecting your builds. You need to understand it more than just looking at your damage sheet. And, you know, if you have any questions or queries about that, please do leave them in the comment section below, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible with an answer. But keep an eye out for these shiny legendaries. They may just well give you 4 million effective DPS. Thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always, I will see you next time.